1984 Connections in Real Life, TikTok and Social Media Control by Lia Levin. In the novel 1984 by George Orwell, the main character, Winston, lives in a dystopian society where the government, called the Party, has total control and people are constantly being monitored. The book contains many aspects of government control, constant surveillance, and lack of privacy. An example of constant surveillance are the telescreens that have the ability to watch over the people and track their every action. The main character, Winston, mentions that any sound above a whisper would be picked up by it. The telescreens are a total invasion of privacy, and they take away people's ability to be individuals and live freely. Because people were so scared to do anything wrong, they were forced to follow the government's rule. In Winston's dystopian society, every sound that you made was overheard, and, except darkness, every moment scrutinized. The government had complete surveillance over the people whenever they wanted, and Winston felt highly uncomfortable with the lack of privacy. Another example in the novel is that the government also only put out content that they wanted its citizens to see, making them appear more powerful. At Winston's job in the Ministry of Truth, all history was a palimpsest, scrapped clean and reinscribed exactly as often as was necessary. Winston's job is to change and reconstruct the past and make it so that the government could maintain their position of authority and appear more powerful. For example, a member of the party named Comrade Withers was executed as an enemy of the party, and it is not acceptable for there to be a document file praising him as a loyal party member. So Winston substitutes a person named Conrad Ogilvy for Comrade Withers in the records. In reality, there was no such person as Conrad Ogilvy, but a few lines of print and a couple faked photographs would soon bring him into existence, because he knew that's what the party would want. Not only did the government control its people, it also made them do things that were unfactual to only make them think what the government wants them to. Similar to the events in 1984, in the real world, social media apps like TikTok are able to use various surveillance technologies to track user activity and personalize content, limiting our privacy. One main concern is the Chinese government having control over apps like TikTok. According to CNBC, TikTok was released internationally in September 2017 by its parent company, ByteDance. This could lead to the Chinese government spreading propaganda through choosing what they want Americans to see or what they do not want them to see. This could be achieved through small videos that display on the app or censoring content that they do not want people to see. This can be honest content or misinformation. TikTok's policy states that the company is able to share the data it receives with its various corporate groups. TikTok even has control over unpublished drafts. This heavily relates to 1984 because the Chinese government constantly controls what they want Americans to see, just like the Ministry of Truth in the novel, where workers work on shifting the past and creating information that the party wants them to see, whether it is true or not. Ambuj Kumar, the CEO of Fortinix, an inscription-based cybersecurity company, said anytime the Chinese government has control over a platform like TikTok that has billions of users and is only getting more popular, it gives them the power to feed our minds with what we think we should think about, what we consider truth and what is false. According to CNN, lawmakers argue that TikTok's parent company, ByteDance, could be compelled by Chinese authorities to hand over user data or censor content in a manner that aligns with China's interests. This raises concerns about the possibility of user data being accessed or manipulated by the Chinese government for surveillance or other purposes. These concerns are not solely based on hypothetical scenarios, but also on past incidents. For example, in 2019, TikTok faced scrutiny over allegations that it censored content relating to sensitive topics such as protests in Hong Kong. Additionally, there have been reports of TikTok's data collection practices, including the collection of sensitive personal information from users, raising questions about how this data is used and protected. Here is a clip from CBS News to learn more.
TikTok collects a lot of data. It tracks account information, search history, any content created through the platform, along with users' locations and behavioral information. Companies like Facebook and Google collect similar data, but there's one major difference. TikTok is based in China.
China has a national security law that compels every entity within its jurisdiction to aid its espionage and what they view as their national security efforts.
This means Chinese companies are required to make all data they collect available to the Chinese Communist Party.
This control that the Chinese government has on TikTok is similar to the control that the government in 1984 has. They are both brutally invasive and demolish human privacy. This is what TikTok CEO Shao Zichu has to say about this issue, according to Sky News.
Now, TikTok itself is not available in mainland China. We're headquartered in Los Angeles and in Singapore, and we have 7,000 employees in the US today. Still, we have heard important concerns about the potential for unwanted foreign access to US data and potential manipulation of the TikTok US ecosystem.
Although he mentions that the Chinese government does not have access to TikTok's user data, a recent article from CNN proves otherwise. It states that there is now some public evidence that China viewed TikTok data. Another headline from CBC mentions that TikTok executive says Chinese government used the app to locate and identify Hong Kong protesters. According to this graph from the Pew Research Center, many people feel threatened from how TikTok is using their data. 29% of US adults feel threatened, and many people do not know or are unsure of what is going on. Back in 2020, President Donald Trump viewed TikTok as security threats, so the app was almost banned. I believe that due to all of these obstacles that the Chinese government has caused, the app will get banned again. One solution to this problem could be for policymakers that work with TikTok to increase the transparency and accountability on the app. The company should also report any security breaches or data misuse. Another solution could be for policymakers to strengthen data protection laws and make sure that users' data is protected. Finally, another solution would be for TikTok to collaborate with international partners and address their concerns. Thank you so much for watching. I hope this made you more aware of current situations happening in your daily lives.